In your top story this hour, family, friends and colleagues are expected to gather in Ulundi in northern KwaZulu-Natal this morning for the funeral service of slain e-hailing driver Mthokozisi Mvelase. The 27-year-old was shot and killed and his body set on fire following an alleged turf war between taxi operators and e-hailing drivers outside of Maponya Mall in Soweto 3 weeks ago. His charred remains arrived at his home in Ulundi village last night ahead of his final send-off. Newzroom Afrika's Phila Mthembu is joining us live from Ulundi this morning. Good morning, Phila. Very sad day. Such a young man with such a promising future ahead of him. And from what we know so far, I mean, it's taken 3 weeks for his body to be positively identified. How is his mom? How's his family doing?
Good morning, Chaba. And what I can tell you is that his family, especially his mom, they are still struggling to come to terms with what had happened, with the reality really sinking in last night when his charred remains arrived here at his home. We were here to also see that unfold, emotions running high. Basically, his mom really breaking down as she struggles to navigate through what had transpired, especially being told that it has been the past tough 3 weeks for her. So where we are now, we are just outside the family home, and this is where the funeral service is expected to begin at around 9 o'clock this morning. And it doesn't even seem like it's going to be a normal funeral service. You'd recall that last night and also from the morning, before his charred remains departed from Gauteng, there was a ritual practice that had to be done, and also it was the same case when he arrived here. Cultural traditions had to be acknowledged and practiced. We did hear from the uncle basically telling us what they had to go through and those cultural practices that they had to, actually practice, Masichaba. When you take into consideration the circumstances surrounding his death, taking into account that he was shot and his body was also set alight in his vehicle. So we have seen different people coming here, people within the transport industry coming all the way from Gauteng. And what you can see, I'm going to allow for my colleague to actually show you, there's actually his picture on this particular minibus taxi that you can see there. Essentially serving as a tribute and also, keeping his memory, his legacy alive. There are so many people that have spoken well of him, saying that they will remember him as a person who was a peacemaker, and also a person that put his family first, who was also a hard worker, taking into account the challenges, the struggles when it comes to the high unemployment rate in this country. He had taken a decision, to actually get into the e-hailing industry, so he is able to provide for his family with what he has. We can also expect to see, representatives from the Santako that we also understand played a huge role in terms of assisting getting his remains from Gauteng here to Ulundi in KwaZulu-Natal. We've also spoken to his aunt as well as his friends. I was supposed to be in conversation this morning with his friend Chaba, who had told us that he's basically still traumatized from what he had seen. He was one of the people that had attended to that scene where he was shot and his vehicle torched, his body set alight inside that vehicle, saying that, from what he had seen, he had never seen anything of that sort in the past. And to see really his friend in that state was devastating for him. And at this particular point, psychosocial support is essential, especially when you take into account that incidents of such are hardly seen in this community. This family has never experienced anything of this sort, and they would now have to, try and navigate through life with these emotions as they try to close this particular chapter and start, with the healing process. So it's been quite a tough past couple of weeks, and with police remaining mum in terms of investigations, we haven't heard of any arrest which has been made around this particular incident, with the family calling there for justice, saying that they are hoping that police are going to conduct thorough investigations. And what could give the family a sense of comfort is to see those who had committed this particular crime being brought to account, Masichaba.